Hello and good morning, it's Phil Thatch and I am in downtown Chattanooga this morning with the Canon R7, and I'm going to start out with the 18-150 kit lens and do a little bit of street photography. Come along with me. We'll start off with a puddle reflection shot, and in this particular puddle there on, I think, Market Street, there's a bunch of leaves in the puddle and the reflection is the trees where those leaves fell from. So I thought that was an interesting combination. Started out down here near West Village and the Millennium Bank area and just done a few shots here and there. I think it's interesting to photograph people from different walks of life occupying the same area in downtown Chattanooga. Here we have a businessman and a UPS driver, both working but doing very different jobs. So apparently Chattanooga's Umbrella Alley is now sponsored. There are 4 large round Millennium Bank logos on each of the umbrellas now. And I guess if they're the folks who are paying to maintain these umbrellas, I know they don't just stay up there without being maintained, and I guess it's fine. But it does take away from it a little bit, I think. I thought I might also photograph shapes that I found interesting while I was out doing street photography on my photo walk today. These are the tables from the Waterhouse Pavilion, which were outside and all crammed together while they were rearranging the floor of the Waterhouse Pavilion. This is the Waterhouse Pavilion. Heather and I have this place booked for our wedding in a year or two. So I guess this building's pretty special to us, and probably always will be. This is the Urban Chandelier Alley, which you would think would look really cool in photos, but it really doesn't look that good. And then right down here, this alley connects to another decorated alley, which I think it's called the Ribbon Alley. I could be wrong, but it's much more photogenic. It's got the green pipes that go all over the place. Really cool. Let me see if I can figure out what it's called. So this one's called City Thread. And I've made some photos here and there around this area. I've decided to go with kind of a high contrast black and white edit on several of the pictures from today's photo walk, including this one there on the City Thread area. This gentleman, I guess that's his bicycle and his Bud Ice that he was enjoying. And then I went into one of the buildings and used the restroom and made a double selfie on their water fountain area, which I thought turned out kind of interesting. More shapes for you. I waited here at the Urban Chandelier Alley for quite some time with my composition framed up to shoot a down the alley, somebody walking by the entrance to the alley shot, and nobody ever came, and I gave up and I went back down to the end of the alley, and I looked down the street and there was a lady about to walk down this way, so I rushed back to my position and bagged the shot. I thought this one turned out really cool, especially because she happened to look over at me, and I thought that her boots and her jacket and her sunglasses were all really cool. So this is probably one of my favorite photographs of the entire day. You know, street photography is, there's so many different ways to do it. You know, you can take pictures of shapes or buildings or people, or shapes and buildings and people, but I really like to get photographs of people crossing intersections. I think that's interesting, especially if the intersection is beautiful. And this particular intersection right here at 8th and Market Street is my favorite in all of Chattanooga. There's trees and beautiful light trickles in through the tall buildings, and I got a photograph sitting down across 8th Street of some folks crossing Market, and I thought it turned out really beautiful. See what you think. I had been enjoying editing some of the photographs in high contrast black and white, but this one definitely had to be in color. I like all of the colors of the buildings and the cars and the ladies' outfits, and especially the autumn color trees in the background. This one, on the other hand, looked much better in high contrast black and white. I wasn't all that interested in the sidewalk work that this gentleman was doing, but the concrete dust that was being hit by bright sunlight looked really cool, especially in front of the dark alley where it really shows up well. I got the UPS Tivoli shot. I sat on the curb and waited for quite some time for the UPS man to come back out to his truck and I thought that the reflection of the Tivoli sign on his truck looked pretty cool. This gentleman was a professional photographer, he informed me, and he was waiting to meet some clients. I asked him if he was doing street photography. That's a 5D Mark IV with a 50mm 1.2 he has. Here's a shot looking up 8th Street at the Dome building. I love this particular shot, and on this one, the United States Postal Service man is walking across the street with his cart. Here's a high contrast black and white shot of the shadow being made by one of the garbage cans that they have in downtown Chattanooga. And the next shot is another shot of shapes. And this is a parking garage in downtown Chattanooga. The ramps, I'm not sure if these are going into the garage or out, or maybe both, but I liked the shapes and the contrast. I made it back to the car right as the time was expiring on my 2-hour meter, but because I parked right at a composition I wanted to work on, I could kind of stay here and work on a shot, and if the meter maid came up, I could just hop in the car and leave. But I waited until somebody crossed the street and made a shot of the Dome building in the distance with somebody crossing the road. This shot was made about 2 blocks closer to the Dome building than the one with the postal courier, and I'm still 3 blocks from the Dome building, and I really want to get a photograph made of Heather and I right here when we get married. I just love this shot. All right, that's going to do it for me from here in downtown Chattanooga for a little street photography. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.